I'm taking my mom to court. My mother has finally pushed me too far. I, 34 female, cut contact with her back in 2021. She's always favored my son and he became her golden child, so she started trying to use the school to see him without mine or his father's permission after I cut her out of our lives. We quickly put a stop to it by speaking with the school, and my son's father sent her a lengthy text telling her to never manipulate the school system to get to our son again, or we'd be taking legal action, and he let her know that we'd spoken to the school about this, and they were very aware of our feelings. She was mostly quiet for a while after that, but I caught her following me once and I evaded her. She even traveled to another state where my son's father family vacations almost every year during Christmas. Luckily, my son happened to not be there that year. Well, recently, she started secretly volunteering at my son's 10-male elementary school. She lives over an hour away and didn't tell the school she had any familial connections there since she knows we had spoken to the school about her antics a while back. We assume she lied about her address to get approved since she lives so far away. Anyway, she somehow snuck out of the classroom she was volunteering in and asked another child to get my son out of the cafeteria and spent 15 minutes crying to him, telling him how unfair I've been and that she's never done anything wrong, that she has years of presents for him and he needs to come over to her house so he can have them. Worst of all, she told him not to tell anyone that she spoke with him or that he saw her. I felt like my mom was slowly calculating a way eventually take him from the school. My son's father and I aren't together, but we immediately banded together and spoke to the school vice principal the next day and decided to file an injunction. The temporary injunction was approved within an hour of filing. I was immediately in tears. I was so relieved. Our hearing is coming up, and the closer it gets, the more I find myself questioning what I'm doing. I know I'm doing the right thing, but this situation just sucks. No one should have to protect themselves or their children from their own grandparent. It's such an awful feeling. I wish she would have just respected our boundaries, but she's clearly incapable of that. I tried so hard to make her understand my boundaries before I cut contact with her. Her entitlement to my son was disgusting. She demanded seeing him, talking to him, and got very nasty and angry with me if I didn't oblige or if I had other plans and couldn't fit her in. She would constantly slip and call him her son. I guess I'm triggered and back in childhood me, feeling helpless and scared. I feel bad that I've had to go this far. I feel terrible that she's been served. I know I shouldn't feel bad because she's probably more embarrassed and worried about how this makes her look more than anything. It's probably a long shot, but have any of you all experienced anything like this? I've never been to court. Even when my son's father and I divorced, we were able to settle on our own. I have no idea what to expect and I'm scared. I don't want to see her. I don't want to hear her lie in court or cry and manipulate, but I know it's coming. This situation is heartbreaking. I doubt it will go well for her in court, as she fraudulently gained access to your son and traumatized him. Invoke your inner mama bear and keep her away from him to protect him from a predator. Your mom is a danger to your son and don't underestimate her. You're doing the right thing by protecting your child, and the school needs to understand the gravity of the situation. Husband's mother is forcing him to leave me. I need serious help. Met my now husband 3 years ago. We clicked instantly and fell in love. We both are raised by single mothers. My mother has always been supportive of my decisions, but his mother has been controlling all his life. He told me all about it the first time we met, and I felt so bad about it. He eventually told his mother about us, and as expected, she panicked and said he had to leave me without even meeting me. We also come from different religious backgrounds, but I had agreed to convert. His mom won't listen and made him talk to her friends also to change his mind. He then lied to her and said we broke up. Around this time, he got an offer to work abroad, and we decided to get married as long distance would be difficult, his mother unaware about our marriage. We decided we will convince her and later do a second fake marriage in front of her. After a year or so, she got to know about me being here, but he lied and said I came on my own to pursue my master's. We then planned a trip together with his family in mind to try convince them. Turned out to be the worst decision ever because things just went more downhill from there. He wanted me to be submissive to her like he has always been and keep apologizing to her. I did that to a certain extent, but then I just couldn't. He says everyone in his family listens to his mother, and all must do as she says. That's just how it's been. I was not raised like this, so this is very difficult for me to give in to the demands of someone and be submissive no matter what. I understand the trip was to convince her, and I'm not sure if I should have just followed his instructions and kept quiet the whole time. Now we are back abroad to our life, but nothing is right. We were happy, and his mother seems to be the only problem. My husband is very scared of her since childhood, and she is mentally torturing him to leave me. She doesn't know of our marriage. This is affecting us, and he is falling sick. It's also affecting me mentally. He says he can't tell her about the marriage. She will die. I don't know if he will ever let go of this fear. She emotionally blackmails him by reminding him of all the sacrifices she has made and says she will disappear from his life if he is with me. My husband thinks even I am wrong, as I should have been more submissive on the trip. She calls me a gold digger and also keeps body shaming me behind my back. I have a job here too, and we split everything. I end up paying more most of the time since my husband has bought a house in India and has to pay the mortgage. So I'm anything but a gold digger. I don't know what to do. I also have my job and career here. We can have a happy life, but nothing seems to work because of his mother and how she affects him so much. You have a husband problem. He needs to cut his mother off and go no contact for good. He decided to marry you. Now he needs to do what's right by his family. If he wants to heal and to move on, he needs to cut her off and get therapy. He will never choose you over her. This will be your life forever. Stand up for yourself and take the right call. He will always prioritize his mother. Am I the antagonist for telling my friend's sister she has horrible teeth when she wouldn't stop bullying me? I, 28-year-old female, developed a mild allergy to sodium lauryl sulfate as a teenager. It's a common ingredient in personal care products and is what makes them foamy. I'm only allergic to it in toothpaste, and using toothpaste with sodium lauryl sulfate in it even once causes rashes at the corners of my mouth and makes it extremely painful to open my mouth, even a tiny bit, so I can barely eat or speak. I use a toothpaste that doesn't use sodium lauryl sulfate, and luckily is commonly available where I live, so it usually isn't a problem. About 2 weeks ago, I went on a camping trip with a group for a friend's, Anna, 25-year-old female, bachelorette party. It was in the bush near her tiny hometown of 200 people, and I realized after I arrived that I'd forgotten my toiletry bag with my toothpaste in it. I asked my friends if they had any toothpaste I could borrow, but it all had sodium lauryl sulfate in it. Since I arrived on the Friday morning, I had time to stop by the general store and pharmacy in town, but they didn't stock my toothpaste and said it'd take longer to bring in than I'd be there. So I grabbed a bottle of mouthwash and figured I'd just brush with water and mouthwash for the weekend. Not ideal, but I wasn't going to ruin my friend's bachelorette by being miserable with the rashes. On the first night camping, I was brushing my teeth and Anna's sister, Kelsey, 32-year-old female, asked why my toothpaste wasn't foaming. She went to the campsite to set up and didn't know about my allergy, so I explained the above to her. She freaked out, saying it was disgusting to brush without toothpaste, and I agreed with her, but said I didn't have a choice. It was this or ugly, painful rashes, and joked they make me look like a low-budget joker. The whole weekend, Kelsey kept making snide comments about how gross my teeth were and saying she could smell my breath from over a meter away. I thought this was pretty rich considering my teeth are straight and white while hers are crooked and stained from smoking and soft drink, but I didn't say anything and just ignored her. Anna and everyone else kept telling Kelsey to stop, but she wouldn't, and I eventually snapped and told her to shut the fuck up and told her not to throw stones in glass houses. She asked what I meant, and I said at least my horrible breath can be fixed with my toothpaste when I get home, but her teeth will be a lot harder to change. This made Kelsey cry, and she left early. Anna and a couple of other friends said Kelsey had it coming, but others are saying I was too harsh on Kelsey, so now I'm conflicted. Am I the asshole? Can't take it? Don't dish it out. And there's nothing wrong with just using mouthwash. Toothpaste is primarily an abrasive to polish your teeth. Not using it for a couple of days won't do any harm. She's 32 years old and was behaving like a mean little middle school adolescent who thinks it's fun to put down other people. Am I the antagonist for eating huge size of fruit salad at a buffet breakfast and make my boyfriend embarrassed? My boyfriend and I have been dating for over a decade now. We spend together about 5 days in every 2 months, living in 2 different countries in Europe. I am middle-aged and he is 20 years older than me. He is on the fitter, leaner side. I am overweight, body mass index 30 tall. We spent some days together in a wellness hotel recently. I am not about wellness, but he likes it and I don't mind. The hotel had an acceptable gym and I became a very passionate lifter recently. The hotel had buffet breakfast and a really nice wide range of food. I found some nicely chopped fruits, so I made myself a mix of them about the size of 3 apples, onto the dedicated plate. I also had a pile of cold-cut salmon cheese and a small piece of bakery. When I sat down to eat and I noticed he's starting to make faces, looking really angry. He didn't want to tell what is wrong as others might hear us, but he kept doing it, so I insisted. He told me that my breakfast is what makes him angry. We also talked about this later. I just collect here what we said. So that my big fruit salad doesn't fit the etiquette of the place. True that nobody else had this big fruit salad, but I assume people just don't like fruit vegetables as much as I do. He told that people will judge me when they see it, and they will judge him too. Or at least I could have had my fruit in 2 portions after each other. I told I don't think anyone gives a damn, and if they do, I shouldn't care. He told that when he walks around, he pays a lot of attention to others' food, and if he sees something like mine, he thinks they are greedy in a negative way. So he thinks also other people are like this. Also that he is angry that I am not having a weight loss diet. We both agree in general that I should lose weight, but he didn't tell before that it is so important for him. He also told something about that he find binging repulsive, not his word, in general, and as I didn't start with the fruits, he thought I will not be able to eat them. This is not the first time we have this fight. He commented before on my eating 4 eggs for breakfast, on eating 5-6 pieces of tomato a day. He thought it makes me fat. At another hotel to eat a big pile of salmon for breakfast, with nothing else except vegetables. We were the only guests there having breakfast, so it was just the principle. I know this is unusual, but I just like these things and they were there. He also complains that I want more of everything, mostly sporty things. preferably together, but for example, I am a long-distance swimmer and he is not, and when we are nearby a big body of water I just cannot resist. This tendency was always the case with us, but it started to, visibly, disturb him just recently. At the breakfast he didn't seem to be bothered by the bakery. He encouraged me to have dessert and alcohol. So I don't think healthy diet is his main problem, but more of my passionate style in things. Or I am just an embarrassment. So, am I the asshole? Your boyfriend is trash. He's judging you based on what you eat, which is not okay. It's more about control for him than health. With as much as you work out, you need the energy. Dump him. Am I the antagonist for disinviting my sister-in-law from my wedding? I, 29-year-old female, and my fiancé, 31-year-old male mixed race, have been together for 8 years and are getting married in 1 year. I don't have much family, and I grew up in foster care, aged out, and am ecstatic to join my partner's family officially. He has 7 sisters, we all get along very well, and I made a group chat to start wedding planning. Now the problem child, let's call her Lisa, 25-year-old female. I made my invitations, and of course she hated them. They were too retro and tacky. She didn't like the wording, so she remade them to her preferences. I liked my design and stood by it. Next thing I know, she leaves the chat. I assumed she got busy and let it be. She lives out of state and can't be here to help plan anyway. If only. My fiancé and I have a slightly larger home than his siblings, so we tend to host holiday parties here and have a family chat I made for that too. Perfect apparently for her to start problems. A lot of general disrespect towards us all, but then targeted slander. Birthday party? I'm satanic. Christmas? I'm a colonizer and shouldn't celebrate because people are suffering through war and only Christians can celebrate. Repeatedly bashed me as a white supremacist and told me my fiancé is a standard oppressive male who uses me for his own gain. After a point, it's too much. I reached out to let her know we all love her, her family and sisters miss her, and we'll always be here to talk if she lets us. We used to be good friends and I just want this worked out. Apparently that was too far. She responded back saying, "You are a pick-me validation seeking random trying to get approval from a family because you never had one. You accept emotional and mental manipulation. You are still a woman. I do not respect you nor see your insight as valid or true because you lack the ability to see your own self-worth. I'd had it. Bringing a foster kid's family into it is my last straw. I created a new chat without her, and now she's manipulating their mom into avoiding us and stopped her from attending family gatherings. When she is able to attend, she starts screaming matches that are so dramatic the neighbors come out to watch. It's breaking their family apart. I want to uninvite her from our wedding, but my fiancé says she feels alone and unloved right now. If we push her away, it just proves her point. He says if she starts a fight, he'll deal with her himself, but I don't want him to. I don't want that to happen on our day. Am I the a-hole if I disinvite her? Your sister's behavior is completely unacceptable, and you have every right to not want her at your wedding. She's pulling herself out of the equation with her over-the-top judgments and behavior. Make it clear to your fiancé that dealing with her is his problem, and alert the venue that they may need to escort an unruly family member out. Wedding guests are meant to show love and support, not make it all about themselves. Am I the antagonist for distancing myself after my difficult friend had a baby? We are 3 friends, Aita, Lisa, and me, Sam. Lisa is a very genuine and kind person. Aita is more complicated. Her life was always aspirational, her relationships, her high-flying career, her appearance, health, etc. always seemingly perfect. Lisa and I were bridesmaids when she married her first husband, and it was around this time I noticed that her personality changed to fit the person she was with. It started to feel like we were becoming very different people. She'd be unnecessarily confrontational at times to waiting staff, for example. Still, I gave her the benefit of the doubt because of our history. A few years ago she got divorced. It came as a huge surprise, because as far as we knew it was a perfect marriage. After the divorce, she changed back to the person I knew, someone who wasn't scared to be vulnerable, not always performing, someone fun and open and, honestly, also less of a snob. Her husband had been quite wealthy, and this very much impacted her attitude. Then she met a guy, an investor with a wealthy family and rich friends. She got pregnant after 6 months and now they have a beautiful baby. She changed again, and I began to dread being around her. She brags constantly about money and her new wealthy friends. She has expressed some very mean beliefs, and every interaction with her is laced with an air of superiority. Before the baby came, Lisa and I took her on a weekend abroad, on which she was constantly making pointed comments and managed to make 2 taxi drivers cry. It felt like she was punishing us, though she intersperses this with some cheerleading to make it quite emotionally confusing. After this, I distanced myself for my own sanity. But I still showed up for her. I let her stay at my house when needed, used my contacts to get her a discounted holiday, expressed my happiness for her and her new baby, sent gifts, etc. Out of the blue, she texts Lisa to say we haven't given her the support she would have showered on us after a new baby, and she's therefore no longer prioritizing our relationship. Lisa and I both have ailing family members to care for, full-time jobs, and fewer resources. She has not once told us she's struggling or asked for help. In fact, all she communicates is how perfect her life is. And so, yes, I have not been prioritizing her. She has also not inquired about any of the issues she knows I am experiencing, though with a new baby, I wouldn't have expected this from her. Lisa, however, has been more hands-on, minding her dog for weeks at a time, texting every day, and helping with her new business. I can't help feeling like she wants to shed us to make room for her new rich friends. Am I wrong to assume this? Not the antagonist for letting go of a friend who was only focused on herself and not being a true friend. Sometimes people grow apart, and it's okay to move on without making a big fuss. She's not worth the drama and aggravation, so choose peace and let her go. Lisa just made official what was already happening, so focus on those who bring positivity into your life instead. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.